is Porcupine Creek Campground, completely abandoned. We just walked across the street and came here to explore and look around. There's the creek over there, so we wandered alongside the creek. Now we're just wandering through the campground, taking a look at what's here. It's nice. At one point they had really nice outhouses and picnic tables at all of the campsites. I don't know why it's closed, but Steve thinks it might be because they had like bear attacks. And here we are just wandering all around, but we're just getting some rosehips. We were looking for blueberries, but this isn't the place apparently. But there's quite a few rosehips, so we'll keep exploring.
Hello.
Rosehips. These are kind of small over here, but over here they're really fat. I'm gonna make a juice out of them and then probably make jelly, like 2 or 3 jars, not like a lot of jelly, small amount. I've never tried these before, but I imagine they're the same. You only want to take a couple from each plant, not like stripping the plant. So
Moose poop. So crumbled up, so it kind of looks like sawdust in there. So it's from last winter when the moose were eating branches and twigs and that kind of stuff.
look at this giant group camping spot. It's perfect. If you had a bunch of friends together, perfect. I don't know why this place is closed.
We bought these to go berry picking with our grandson. And it turns out he wasn't particularly interested in berry picking, and the berries weren't thick enough where we were to actually use the picker. We're trying them today on rosehips. Like you scoop it in and then pull them out. You can see you get some leaves jammed in there. So my bag so far, a bunch of leaves in there compared to Noel's bag, nice and clean. So I think maybe to me, unless the density is really high, the berry density, it may just be easier to pick them with your hand. I don't know.
What, is it more fun?
Well, actually, the rosehips have stickers on the branches, and I stuck myself quite a few times, so I'm kind of appreciating that I'm not sticking my fingers.
Yeah, that's better.
Found a spot here of low bush cranberries, and it seems like our little picker is doing a good job. Let's try it. Let's find a spot. Here we go. Yeah.
Nice.
So maybe this is more appropriate for low bush cranberries than it is for rosehips. I'll see how many I can get here.
Steve measured our rosehips. We have about 10 cups. Rosehips plus cranberries. So we're going to put 5 cups water. So half the amount of berries as water. Cook it for like 10 minutes or something. Bring it to a boil and then cook it for 10 minutes so that it becomes a juice. Then we're going to pour it over into a sieve and let it drain. Make some juice. Put it in the freezer. Make some jelly later. Bring quickly to a boil, then reduce heat and cook slowly for 15 minutes. These have been cooling for about an hour, so I'm going to put them in this little strainer and let the juice run out overnight. Although I don't really think they're all going to fit in there. Straining rosehips. We picked them in Alaska, then we made them into a tea, then froze it, so now I'm straining it. So this is the first strain. That's just pulp. I'll figure out what to do with it. And then this is the clear jelly. I'm going to strain it one more time into there, the clear juice. I'll strain it one more time into there and then start making some jelly. I already got bottles sterilizing, so they'll be ready to go. It's not like canning in a house. I don't have very much space. I don't have room for more than one pan on the stove, so I don't know how it's gonna go, but we'll try it out. Just gonna set those there. I'm using liquid pectin. I already put in about a half tablespoon of butter. Here's my 4 cups of rosehip juice. My cans I just took out, or my jars. I have 6 cups of sugar, measured out and ready. Don't mind the f***ing flies. And I'm gonna put this in.
Kind of a potty mouth.
Yeah, well, I don't really like insects. So this recipe did not specifically call for the butter, but it's from the college extension, field extension office, the recipe is, and their fireweed recipe did call for butter, and that is to keep the foam down. So even though this recipe didn't specifically call for it, I'm adding it. So
what does the pectin do?
Gels it. Some fruit have natural pectin. I think rosehips are one of those, but they don't have enough to make it a jelly consistency. So now I'm pretty sure. I've read the directions like 50 times. Add pectin, bring to a full rolling boil that cannot be stirred down. Then stir in the sugar. Oh, I don't have to boil, or I don't have to stir constantly now. I don't even know how to make jelly without Connor. The last couple summers. gotta turn the heat down. That's as far as I could get it away from the heat. Because it's gonna make 10 cups, which equals 5 pints. These are half pints. It also says this jelly could take up to a week to set. We need 8, so we'll just pour that in, the rest in here.
What are you going to do with all of this?
I'm gonna give it to people where we boondock at their house, whether they want it or not. It's not really a question of whether they would like to have some jelly that I enjoyed foraging and making. It's really not about them at all. It's about me wanting to make it and try something new from foraging. I'm gonna hot water bath can them. The water is still hot, but not boiling from earlier, from sterilizing the jars. So I put them in there.
What's that thing on the bottom in there?
It's a little rubber gasket to keep it from touching the very bottom. Like they're probably not supposed to touch the sides, but I don't really know.
Now what?
Now I have to let them come to a boil and then cook them for 5 minutes. My first batch has been water bath canning for 5 minutes. It's time to take them out. Put my last 2 jellies in. Just for shits and giggles. Ooh, that's hot. I made a rosehip syrup with some of the pulp. I have a little
Let's just do this before the weather gets too cold and then it breaks.